PFF does not play favorites or spin things to look a certain way. It's consistent nationally, that is why it has become so popular as a benchmark. Like it or not, PFF seems to be the gold standard for the NFL executives. How can armchair QB, even if they coached in Europe, determine if a kid will be this, that, or a perennial Pro Bowler? Research the scouting report. It says Jane needs to be stronger at the point of attack, run game, and that he shows elite pass protection skills.
Of course, thank you to user EF6KK1G03J for his comment. We got into the analytics discussion a little bit towards the end of the video, so it means you watched it a little farther through the video, so I appreciate that. So this leads into a more broad discussion of what's my deal with analytics? Why do I hate analytics? And the first thing I want to say with that is I don't. I think analytics as a data collection tool is important. It does a lot of busy work that sometimes coaches don't want to do. So I like that. What I don't like is the blind faith people put into numbers that take away the human element of the game. So this does it in several ways. One, we have people making opinions on what they see on the field without direct firsthand knowledge of what the player should be doing. They see what he's doing, but they don't know exactly what he should be doing. Now, in full disclosure, I am doing the same thing. I am making an informed opinion based on what I see on the field, based on my experience. I also always preface it by saying I am not in the offensive line room, the quarterback room, so I am making assumptions based on what I see and based on my knowledge. Okay, so I go with that, and I admit that. What happens is you get a lot of people who blindly follow these numbers, and when you see people basically say, well, if PFF says it, it must be true. It might be true, and it might not be because of, I don't want to say biased, because they are consistent, but at the end of the day, they are making numbers based on somebody's opinion. And you are distilling a football player down to a set of numbers, not what he does on the field. And what he does, how it positively and negatively impacts the player on the field, even when he might not, quote unquote, be doing his job, in people's opinions. A famous story with this, and we brought it up in the Locked On Badgers segment, is sometime in 2020, Brian Burke from ESPN's analytic department put out a piece saying Aaron Donald is a below average run defender, and here are the numbers. And then around the same time, you'd see a bunch of video clips show up on Twitter showing examples of Aaron Donald being a poor run defender. And when you watch the clips, if you know what defensive line play is, most of those plays would not have received a negative grade from a defensive line coach. In fact, most of the time he's doing his job. Sometimes Aaron Donald's job is to just be Aaron Donald. And the mystique of Aaron Donald does the job by forcing double teams, by forcing defense or offenses to game plan around him. But because he's not winning battles and penetrating, people grade him badly. That's an opinion. That's not fact. Their opinion, because he's not winning these battles one-on-one or not engaging in the battles one-on-one. Somehow he's losing. But the numbers say he's bad, so he's bad. Jack Nelson, we're talking about him here. Okay, his PFF pass blocking numbers are great. They say his elite pass blocking skills, according to user here. To that I say, did you watch the Washington State game? That's what I'm commenting on. He had a bad game against Washington State, and it showed both fundamental flaws and athletic flaws he has in his game, in my opinion, based on 20 years of being around offensive linemen. Okay? Now, the only person whose opinion matters is Jack Bicknell Jr., Phil Longo, and himself. Okay, Jack Nelson isn't watching this and changing his game. But if I can see it, you better damn well know that they see it as well. And when he makes mistakes against Washington State, it directly impacted the game. But I also believe, I bet you those fumbles that were caused by his inability to pass block speed dinged Tanner Mordecai's PFF score more than it did Jack Nelson's. Why? Because they don't take the whole game into a factor. They don't take into account how players interact with each other. They just see fumble. Oh, poor ball handling skills. Okay? Or gave up a pass pressure. Oh, that must be his fault. Was it? That's the human side that analytics sometimes can take away in this whole grading evaluation sector of analytics football. Tell me, really, at the bare minimum level here, what is the difference between a PFF grade and a Madden rating? What's the difference? And then what's the difference between those two opinions and what Jack Bicknell Jr. thinks of offensive line play? And whose opinion would you rather listen to? I don't care if it's a gold standard. I'm always going to listen to the football guy first. Because at the end of the day, he's going to be the one who corrects the mistakes or game plans around them. Places like PFF, the Madden rating adjusters, are creating content to sell on a website and to create interaction on social media. And they do a very good job with it, and it's a great business that adds on to the service that they are saying they provide. They provide analysis and they provide content. For me, I want the analysis to provide better football play. Okay? So that's my first problem with analytics, where we're taking the humans out and replacing them with numbers. Second part of what I don't like about analytics, and this comes into the coaching realm, is how analytics are taking away instincts and feeling from the game from coaches. And I think Brandon Staley of the, I almost said San Diego, Los Angeles Chargers is a great example. Is he flat out admits is that he calls plays and makes decisions based on numbers on a chart instead of what he thinks should be the right play. By doing stuff like that, what you create is a scenario where you can blame somebody else if you make a mistake. Well, the numbers told me I should have done this. I don't know what to tell you. Talk to the analytics department. When it should always come down to what my gut feeling says. Every coach uses analytics to devise a game plan, but not one coach will, or at least a coach with any kind of feeling for the game, will not go into a situation and not call a play because, well, the chart doesn't say I should call that play, so I'm not going to call it. No, if you feel it's the right play, it's the right play. I don't care what the numbers say. And I make decisions based on what I feel, not what the chart says. The only chart I believe in is the 2-point conversion chart because I'm bad at math. That takes having to make a math decision in the middle of a game. Makes that easier. But I'm not going to decide whether or not I'm going to go for it or not go for it based on a calculation, yada, yada, yada. And I don't care if somebody on Twitter, computer program, doesn't like my decision. The coach's decision is always right for him. It has to be. If it's not, then maybe football coaching isn't the right field for him. But at the end of the day, use analytics for what they do for you as a football fan. Does it make you a better football fan? Because it invites you to dig deeper into the game and learn more about the scheme and more about the technique and the coaching points of your favorite players, then by all means use analytics as you see fit. If it makes you a better football fan, do that. But don't blindly follow numbers based on other people's opinions. You have to make your own opinion. And you have to make your own opinion based on what you see on the football field, not by numbers you see on Twitter. If you do that, you'll become a more informed football fan and you'll have a better football viewing experience. And that's what it's all about.